Hello, Bible readers. Walter Brueggemann, in his book, The Message of the Psalms, he puts Psalm 27 in the same general category as the 23rd Psalm. What makes them similar as Psalms of thanksgiving is that they're more generalized. Other Psalms of thanks are about immediate things, concrete things. Psalm 23 and 27, they're more reflective, more general in their theology, their understanding of God. When they reflect, they state a confidence in God, that God can be and should be trusted above all threats, all fears. So Brueggemann says, these Psalms are some of the best known and the best loved, for they offer a faith and a life that has come to a joyous, trusting resolution. The speaker of these poems cannot imagine a situation that would cause doubt or trouble enough to jeopardize their trust. The relationship has been tested, for sure, severely, and God has shown God's self to be profoundly reliable and powerful, unquote. Psalm 27 itself is kind of hard to categorize, though, because of how different its second half is from the first. Verses 1 to 6 are just what I was just talking about. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. There is like 100% confidence in God. But the second half changes to become a prayer of need, which, and this is my big takeaway from Psalm 27, like I could, I think, write a whole sermon on this one. The confidence of verses 1 through 6, that confidence does not eliminate trouble from life. Like, have you ever met that person who believes so deeply in keeping things positive? You got to keep a positive mindset that they just won't even allow people in their presence to say things that might sound negative, even if what's negative is just like statement of fact. Or have you met someone who thought a life of faith can not include any amount of doubt or any amount of admitting that there's trouble? Like, what will people think? I want to be seen as put together, faithful, successful. But if I allow them to know that this thing happened or that I'm struggling or doubting in any way, I know what I'll do. I'll pretend. Psalm 27 includes no pretending with God. Brueggemann makes a very interesting comparison between this Psalm 27 and Ecclesiastes, another wisdom book in the Old Testament. Brueggemann notes that the psalmist here yearns for the presence of God. One thing I ask of the Lord, to live in the house of the Lord. Psalms, the presence of God is known most clearly, of course, in the temple. The temple presence is what reorients the faithful psalmist. Brueggemann says this, both the psalmist here and the author of Ecclesiastes, they've tried everything. Work, pleasure, money, nothing satisfies, but they draw different conclusions from this experience. The teacher in Ecclesiastes ends in cynicism. You might be familiar with the saying from Ecclesiastes, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. But the speaker in the 27th Psalm concludes very differently that the one true yearning of the human person is not just to eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die, but instead the one true yearning of the human person is for presence. God's presence makes all other concerns in life very secondary. Life is completely staked in Psalm 27 on the reliability of God. One last thing about the best poetic phrase in Psalm 27, or at least my favorite. I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Now, Christians oftentimes take that to mean in the afterlife. And Brueggemann is like, why would we think that? None of the rest of this psalm is about later. In fact, all the psalms are about God's presence now, in the temple, in their own time. So the land of the living is like the good life. It's like the way we talk about living the American dream. Well, that's not hoped for to be experienced in the afterlife. Living the American dream, whatever we might think that is, that's about this life now. Same thing with the land of the living. That's now. To be received from God with God. Now, I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.